Good morning.
Good morning.
It was a 2-pot morning and we ran out of coffee, so then we switched to tea.
Now, yeah, exactly. I like what my Good Earth tea states on the back. Knowing yourself is the best knowledge to have. Which really has a lot to do with being honest with yourself.
Well, we know that is not Watchtower or JW.org.
No, it's not.
Because before you get into what you have here, I just wanted to mention that, yes, my inbox was blowing up this morning.
And the phone was ringing off the hook last night.
So thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And many of you have asked for that letter from the United States branch where they're telling, don't post this publicly, but here's all the resources to get help if you need help.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that they want Jehovah's Witnesses to have their hands out, and Watchtower has their hands out for money, but don't be materialistic and looking to Satan's world. You want to be no part of Satan's world. Oh, but it's okay to get help from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what we're gonna kind of do this morning is just read some of the emails and things that we've gotten in the past week and a half. Don't really have anything that's earth-shattering or anything like that. But we do? What?
Yeah, we do have something earth-shattering. That's why I said JW.org are liars.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have removed the announcement about Anthony Morris from their website. And I checked the Spanish, and sure enough, it's gone from that also. And several others in different countries have checked their version of JW.org, and the announcement is gone. But I want to thank Jason of avoidjw.org because he has an article on his website, so you can go read that. But he is the one that posted this. And on their jw.org, they have a thing about who is the governing body. Now, Jason posted, they've changed the picture. It used to be Anthony Morris shaking Sanderson's hand as he's walking into their little governing body conference room. Well, they've changed the picture now. As you can see, it's just silhouettes of some guys in suits and ties with their Bibles. But under who are the members of the governing body, some might say, oh, well, maybe they made a mistake. No, they didn't, because this is what it says under this. The members of the governing body are Kenneth Cook Jr., Gage Flegel, Samuel Hurd, Jeffrey Jackson, Stephen Lett, Garrett Loesch, Mark Sanderson, David Splain, and Jeffrey Winder. They serve at our world headquarters in Warwick, New York, USA. See, Anthony Morris's name is gone. So there was no mistake. There was no apostates hacking JW.org. Because why would apostates change it and get rid of Tony Morris's picture and his name from that list? I'm speechless.
How dare you touch the anointed of Jehovah?
Well, I'm wondering if
they don't get it.
If Watchtower didn't realize the onslaught that all of us would be speculating and doing videos about Anthony Morris. And I'm thinking Watchtower wanted to quietly sweep that announcement under the rug since they did not put it on the front page. They put it in the newsroom that we know Jehovah's Witnesses don't look at.
Well, that's the thing. When Watchtower talks about how many visits they get from anybody to JW.org, we got tens of thousands. And I've said it before. It's ex-members.
Yeah.
It's not current members because they didn't even know Tony was removed as a elder / governing body / somebody sitting at Jesus' right hand to wipe out the wicked. I've said this before, Watchtower. Your members are not going to JW.org. It's us ex-members. And we're using the information to expose who and what you people really are.
Well, I'm going to be reading a letter from someone who contacted us this morning and let us know what they knew about it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to thank BVJW on Twitter and this is their tweet. It says, Tony Morris is removed. Unequivocal evidence God has nothing to do with the appointment process, unless we are saying God makes mistakes. See, JW religion destroyed in one tweet. Boom.
Yeah.
And that was great. You know, this person is absolutely right. And that's what Mike has been saying for years, that we realized back when we were in Arizona as JWs, we knew that this appointment process by the Holy Spirit was all BS, because these elders cannot get away with lying and hiding CSA and all of this and have God's Spirit and be appointed by God's Spirit. So, yeah.
Not this day and age. This day and age, ignorance is absolutely a choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely a choice. And I just find it interesting, and there again, there's a lot of dialogue out there regarding this Tony Morris thing. Some people expect him to write a book. My 2 cents worth is this. I don't look for Tony Morris to write a book, just simply because from this perspective, and here again, I could be wrong about this, but I don't look for it, because when you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar corporation pretending to be a religion that's really a real estate conglomerate, pretending to be a religion, which is really a publishing company pretending to be a religion, the reality is it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation pretending to be a religion. This day and age, when anybody's removed from a corporation this large, I guarantee you they've got some sort of severance package, and they have to sign some sort of non-disclosure agreement. Same thing happens even in WWE wrestling. You look at those wrestlers that are leaving one wrestling company to work for another one, they have a non-compete clause for like 90 days. This day and age, if Tony Morris were to write a book, it would be the absolute end of Watchtower. So I don't look for Tony to write a book unless in this sort of departure severance package, he's not able to do it for like 10 or 15 years. Then you might see something, but at the beginning, I'm not looking for it, because huge corporations like this, when they make people leave the board of directors, they have to keep their mouths shut. And it's no different. It's no different, friends, than when Watchtower settles out of court, that these victims have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Because if they disclose what they were paid for keeping their mouth shut when they leave the courtroom, they will lose everything that they have gained in that setting. So I don't look for it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there because I don't look for Tony Morris to write a book.
Yeah. Well, going back to the governing body not being appointed by God and the Holy Spirit, I'm going to put the link down below to a conversation Barbara Anderson had with XJW Fifth. Now, at about an hour and 11 minutes, and I think it's about 25 seconds, this is what she is saying about Ted Jarez.
And Ted Jarez was the overseer of the Australian branch. Mm-hmm. And something happened with Ted Jarez, and he was removed from his position as overseer and moved to California, told to go to California. The accusations against him are not out there, but it was Knorr who had Lloyd Berry come from Japan to investigate, so Lloyd knew what it was, recommended his removal. In the years, many years later, I was informed that Ted Jarez was removed for molestation.
Ted Jarez of the governing body had been removed from the governing body? No, I'm sorry, from what position?
Branch overseer of Australia.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
See, Ted went to Gilead at the end of the 40s, the early 50s, somewhere right in there. I could locate it.
Okay.
And he was waiting on his paperwork to go to Australia in the beginning of the 50s. I know that. But by around the mid 56, 55, 56, the accusations were against him.
I see.
When he went, Nora told him to go to California. And 6 months, right away he went and married. He told the woman he married that he was never going to marry. He told 6 months before he was never going to marry. I have that as a fact. But he married her right away. And then within 6 months, Nora put him into the special work. So they were into the circuit work. And then into the branch district work, and from there, just before 72, I have the actual dates, and he was called in to be a governing body member.
So see, somebody who had a CSA accusation against them was made a governing body member. So what does that tell you? And we know about these secret societies. You have to do something that they can have on you to become one of their elite, boys club or governing body or, high-ranking Freemason. All of them are the same. And so it makes you wonder, what did they have on Anthony Morris and what did he have to do to get on the governing body? Just asking. I'm just asking.
There again, it's not a religion. It's a multi-billion-dollar investment conglomeration, whatever you want to call it. That's all they're doing is they're investing in property, they're investing in buildings, they're investing in stocks and bonds. They're not a religion. They're hiding behind the book. You get rid of the book, and who are they? Nobody.
Yeah.
Other than a worldwide investment conglomerate.
I guess now would be a good time to read this email I got.
Sure.
Thank you, M. I appreciate it. It says, you are so right about people being indoctrinated and in denial. My congregation is about 90 JWs, and I was the only one who knew about this. Makes me wonder, do JWs actually use the majority of the JW.org website? It seems people don't even read half of the news available. I totally agree, and that's what I said.
Well,
Jane knows JW kids. They don't know any of this news. She knows more than they do. Same thing with all of us. We know more about what's going on in JW.org and Watchtower land than the JWs. And this proves it.
imagine that.
I've sent the screenshot to my friend and she asked an elder what's going on. He denied it. She showed the screenshot and immediately he found an excuse. Can you imagine? Anthony Morris III alcohol problem is no secret, but the majority of JWs don't know it. But people who have that issue in their families must have recognized it. I did. It was so obvious. Hopefully he's now getting proper help before that issue comes to a point of no return. Well, I think being removed from the governing body is a point of no return.
That's definitely a point of no
Yeah.
return. How dare you touch the anointed of Jehovah? But they did it. They did it.
And they removed his ass.
Yeah, because it's a corporation. It's not a religion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious. It's so simple. You've got to literally have your head buried in the sand not to recognize this.
Well, obviously they do. If
Of
they
course
don't
they
even
do.
know their own news on JW.org.
Yeah.
Watchtower. Do you see? Your JW.org website is totally useless to the JWs. They only go on there to get the little videos to show people out in the field
Out in
ministry.
service.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. My turn?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to read this email, and like a buffoon, I forgot my glasses, so you'll have to bear with me.
You want me to read it?
No, I'll read it. It says, and I want to thank G for this. Bingo! You win Mikey's new video on Cyrus. Well, I'm glad you told us to buckle up. Wow, wow, wow. It took me an hour to view Mike's video as I had my coffee this morning, and I'm going to listen to it again when I get home from work tonight, because I kept stopping it to look up scriptures in different Bible translation, one of which I always enjoyed was the Living Bible. And Kim's getting that right now because I forgot to prep it. All right, thank you, dear. Right there.
And it has footnotes.
So, the Living Bible. I have attached a copy of the page in the Living Bible, 1 Peter 5:13. And we were talking about, Babylon, the code for, Rome and everything else. So that's what this email is based upon. The footnote states, in part, Babylon was the nickname for Rome. Others believe it should read, your sister church here in Babylon salutes you. It's hard to read the actual text of 1 Peter 5:13 on the attached page, but it says, the church here in Rome, she is your sister in the Lord, sends you her greetings, so does my son Mark. The asterisk after the word Rome takes you to the footnote, which is readable. The New World Translation, the Old Version. Then the cross-reference scripture at 1 Peter 5:13 in the older New World Translation for Babylon is shown as at Acts 7:43, where it references Babylon, and then again see the attached page. So from all of this, it would appear that many of the references in Revelation to Babylon really refer to Rome, such as the number 666, a man's number, which many believes refers to the Roman Emperor Nero Caesar. You both are better than any anti-aging formula any scientists have ever come up with, because you really challenge our minds. As I have said before, I will never ever be able to thank you enough for your time, energy, method of presentation, and honesty in all that you do for the XJW community and those who are searching for truth. Now, before I continue on, you want to read that footnote?
Yeah, so we do have the Living Bible. This is the paraphrased, and I'm going to read the footnote for that 1 Peter 5:13. Literally, she who is at Babylon is likewise chosen, but Babylon was the Christian nickname for Rome, and the she is thought by many to be Peter's wife, to whom reference is made at Matthew 8:14, 1 Corinthians 9:5, etc. Others believe this should read, your sister church here in Babylon salutes you, and so does my son Mark.
Yeah. So, when you speak in codes, and you want to deflect from really what's in front of you, it's easy to debunk all of this. And it's also easier to see that nobody really knows outside of what is written what that statement really means. Well, was it the sister church in Babylon? Well, Babylon, according to the prophecy, was destroyed and uninhabitable, but there's a Christian church. But if it's a nickname for Rome, then guess what? Rome is the center of all bullshit religions, including but not limited to Christianity. See, this is what happens when you try to deflect from what's in front of your face. And I'm going to elaborate just a little bit on this. Okay? All of you know that I have the Old Testament by Michael Coogan. And I've stated it before. If I flip through every page, you happen to see all the dog-eared, all the highlighted, the highlights. I could do a separate video on that itself, because it truly does debunk biblical theology and in certain aspects, biblical history. Now, years ago, when I read through the book, I actually came across the Cyrus cylinder. And I actually highlighted underneath it. Okay, it says the Cyrus cylinder, inscribed in Babylonian cuneiform writing, this fired clay cylinder is about 9 inches long, and it says the Persian king Cyrus the Great relates how he captured Babylon at the command of its god Marduk. Now, what's interesting about this, friends, if you've been a Jehovah's Witness for any length of time, we all studied the Daniel prophecy book. And what's also interesting is that on page 150, or let's see, starting on page 149, in reading through to 151 and 152, it talks about Cyrus being the anointed of Jehovah, and how it was prophesied a couple hundred years by Isaiah and all this other nonsense.
Obviously, Watchtower didn't read the translation of the Cyrus cylinder.
Or they did, and they gaslighted everybody, because that's what I'm going to get to here, the gaslighting, okay? So anyhow, Cyrus, according to the Cyrus cylinder, was the anointed of Marduk. Okay, now I did that video, but the thing that I want to add to right here is that today, when Christians want to deflect, especially Trinitarians, and they want to make Jesus the God in the Old Testament, then you have to recognize and walk this through mentally, because the book of Isaiah says that Cyrus was the anointed of Jehovah. Jehovah now becomes Marduk, and the Trinitarians have made Jesus Jehovah, which the Cyrus cylinder makes Jehovah Marduk, and since the Yahwists have made El Shaddai Yahweh, by extension Jehovah, by extension Marduk, by extension Jesus. Do you guys see what's going on here? It's one huge mega gaslight, because the Cyrus cylinder has never been tampered with. So I just want to end this right here with a quote from Tucker Carlson. It's better to make judgments based on evidence and not the words. This book is nothing but a book of words. It's been changed, it's been tampered with, and that Cyrus cylinder proves conclusively that the God that anointed Cyrus to become king of the world was Marduk, not any Jehovah, and by extension not any Jesus, since the Trinitarians want to make Jesus the God in the old Bible. So all I can say, friends, is bon appetit.
Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. We appreciate very much, and thanks to all the subscribers, and welcome all you new subscribers.
Oh my goodness, what do we got, like 500 new subscribers in the past?
480 something new subscribers in the past 28 days, so thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah,
and thank you for watching and supporting this channel. We appreciate it.
And thank you for not running away. Because,
Yeah.
you know, allegedly many have, only to come back later and say, you know, I finally got the whole thing of your rants and how you do things. I finally get it. And you will, eventually. But you have to find that honesty that belongs to you. Shut the gaslighting off and start looking at things in a different light.
Well, just like Watchtower taking Anthony Morris's removal, deletion, whatever you want to call it, off of their website. How is that not gaslighting and lying? Because now all they can say, oh, well, the apostates were all lying about it. Well, no, Watchtower, it's too late. We all have the screenshots. We all do.
And yet they're touching the anointed of Jehovah.
Well, it just shows how they are manipulators and confusionists. Imagine a Jehovah's Witness that seen the announcement last week when it first came out on, what was it, the 22nd, 23rd? And then now it's gone? It's like, well, I thought I seen this. See?
Well, I do want to talk about internal honesty.
Watchtower has none.
But I do. And at this point, I would like to give my profound thanks to the Watchtower Babel Crap Society, and in particular, the current governing body, and especially with what they did with Anthony Morris III. You guys know how much mileage we're going to get out of this? We're going to get a lot of mileage, believe me.
And the thing is once you put something out there, you cannot get rid of it. Your history is there forever.
You can't unsee it. You can't unhear it. The Cyrus cylinder says Marduk appointed Cyrus to take over Babylon.
Well,
all hail Marduk.
Well, look at the reasoning book. You know what woke us up? The ... about the cross and the Imperial Bible Dictionary. Who would have thought that the internet would scan that Imperial Bible Dictionary and from the books from the 1800s, and then we could prove them to be manufacturing lies?
Well, here again, careful reading. Go get your Daniel book. Page 111, you'll see the picture. Babylon's being entered. The Euphrates Rivers is low in water. And before I did that video regarding 1 Peter and Babylon and the Cyrus stone and all of that, I had watched many of the YouTubers take this whole thing about Babylon back then. And Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Babylon was overtaken without any battles, without anything. You know, meeny, tekel, parson. It was just that easy. But let's pay close attention, okay? On page 111, the paragraph about halfway down. As secular historians agree, the city was invaded while its inhabitants rebelled. Babylon was taken without hardly any opposition. Hardly any opposition by no means is no opposition. And that's what history bears out. Babylon did have to fight that night, but it wasn't a great, long, engaged battle. Watchtower knew that. That's why they put the word hardly any opposition.
Well, look at it. It goes on to say, there was, though, at least one notable death. So if it was taken without any opposition and no fighting, well, then how'd this person get killed?
Well, see, they want to deflect from the historical aspect of it, because the Cyrus cylinder does show that there was a battle that did ensue. But Christians want to get away from that because they want to believe what Isaiah said.
Well, you know, Belshazzar, the Chaldean king, was killed.
Of course.
Well, tell me his guards, his bodyguards, didn't put up a fight?
Yeah, but the thing that I was going to point to is even this book is outdated. Why? You thumb through it and you'll see how they come up with the math for 1914, and that generation will not pass away. So guess what, Watchtower? By extension, Daniel got it wrong.
Old light.
Daniel got it wrong because he's not inspired by Jehovah, Yahweh, or Jesus. Marduk.
Well, Daniel was the chief of the magic practicing magicians, the Magi.
Marduk. See? But you've got to turn the gas light off and come up with a different light source. Because honestly, who the hell are the Trinitarians without this book? Who is the Church of Kenneth Copeland without this book? In fact, do we want to put that little clip right here, Kim? This very morning, I was flipping through my TV channels, and here's the Sagebrush Church in Albuquerque. And the minister on church is sitting on a stool with a pair of blue jeans wearing a football jersey.
And I thought that it would dissolve, you know, because I saw stuff coming off of it when I was cleaning everything. And I thought, well, that'll just do. I'll just flick it off.
This is a church in Albuquerque. This is the minister for the Sagebrush Church. Do you see how he's dressed? Do you see how these ministers are absolutely catering to a younger audience? This will be the state of Watchtower sometime in the future. Mark my words.
Well, I was going to say, that guy that we met in Rio Rancho, you know, the good Christian that kept trying to talk us into going to his church, I think he was pushing the Sagebrush Church, and Jesus helped him get off drugs.
And he's asking me if I want to do magic mushrooms while he's sitting in this very office. Yeah, it's just...
Well, from the looks of the minister in jeans and a football jersey, he probably does magic mushrooms too.
Well, there again, it just absolutely speaks to the young audience. And this is who Christianity has lost. They've lost the young people. That's why they have to do this. This is why they have to have bands and music and everything else on stage, because the older generation is dying. We're all going away, and we're not buying the bullshit no more. We're just not buying the bullshit.
Yeah.
Because this day and age, ignorance is truly a choice.
Yeah.
And children, kids, are not choosing the ignorance. They're choosing their own mental freedom outside of religion. I mean, it's not difficult. Do your research. Right, Kim Silvio? Do your research.
And along those lines, we're all familiar with the bite model that Stephen Hassan did. Well, Mike and I have improved upon that. And no, we're not trained psychologists in cult exiting. You know, we're not cult experts or anything like that.
You know who we really are? People that know how to use common sense.
Yeah. Now, I'll remind everybody what his bite model was. BITE, behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotion control. Well, we are going to add an S on the end of that, so it really bites. And the S stands for sanitize themselves. Because that's exactly what Watchtower is doing. They are sanitizing themselves, their history, their governing body.
Yeah, true. Yeah, their governing body now. How dare you reach out and touch the anointed? It's unthinkable of me to touch the anointed of Jehovah, says David.
Well, how many in this community have been after their anointed governing body?
And this comes from a man, and Amos plainly points out is a drunkard. Amos points out that David's a drunk.
Yeah.
They're all one and the same. But they refuse to do the research. They refuse to look at it from a common sense perspective. And they overlook words like hardly, which means there was a battle. It just wasn't huge.
Yeah. So now, instead of the bite model, we have the bites model.
Bites. This really bites. Religion bites. Yep, exactly.
Yep. So you all have a wonderful week. We love you.
Adios, and I salute the community for your endeavors, contacting us, your bravery, and your research.
And your emails.
Thank you.
And your comments. A lot of great comments.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.